it's the first day of October, and you know what that means. It's time for Horror Movie Madness Marathon Month. All month long, I'm going to be watching horror movies and talking about them right here. I love Halloween, and this is kind of a personal tradition for me, so I decided to do a series on my channel and have even more fun with it. To kick off the month, I've decided to start with 1BR, or One Bedroom. I just watched it on Netflix, having never seen it before, and it really was more of a random choice. I read the description, thought it sounded interesting, and figured I'd check it out. 1BR is more of a psychological horror movie. It's about a young woman named Sarah who moves to Los Angeles to escape her family issues and try to start over. She gets a job at a law firm and moves into an apartment complex that seems too good to be true. Everyone is super nice, and there's a real sense of community, which turns out to be a major theme throughout the rest of the film. Things slowly begin to turn for the worse as she can't sleep due to the ridiculously noisy pipes in the apartment and threats she receives over her cat that she snuck in. It's a pet-free complex, but some of her neighbors really take it too far. They hate that she's broken the rules and make sure to let her know. I think we can all relate to this in some manner, like a situation where someone doesn't like you because you have done or do something they don't agree with, even though it may not actually affect them in any way. Shortly after, she finds herself held captive and being tortured, and I think this is where the movie really picks up. It's filled with suspense, and I found myself constantly wondering what was going to happen next. I felt it did a decent job of conveying the confusion and fear of the main character, and it made me wonder how I would react in the same situation. When it all starts to happen, the tormentors don't provide any explanation of why they're doing what they're doing. They just insist that Sarah follow their instructions or she'll die. Her entire life has essentially been erased by her captors. They inform her that they quit her job for her, closed all her accounts, and severed all ties with her friends and family, so there's no chance that anyone will come looking for her. She's completely and utterly trapped. As this progresses, I wondered whether she would survive and escape, try to exact revenge, or give in to her captors. She's tortured in a fairly simple fashion, being kept isolated and instructed to stand in a very uncomfortable position against the wall for long periods of time. As long as these two lights on the wall are active, she has to stand there, and failure to do so is punished severely. But she's allowed to rest when the lights are off. At one point, she can't do it anymore and collapses. So what do? They give her a choice. Get back up there or get shot in the head. She gets up, of course, but they nail her hands to the wall for good measure. It shows how effective such simple methods can be in mentally conditioning a person. It's all about using pain and threat of even worse pain to instill discipline and obedience. I don't want to give away too much, but we eventually find out this was all a form of reprogramming to make her docile and compliant in preparation for indoctrination into what is basically a kind of community-based cult. The film shows us an arc of progression from Sarah being chosen, tormented, and indoctrinated, and then we get to see it from the other side of the fence as she is now part of the community and must participate in the very acts which were originally carried out on her. This is one of my favorite aspects of it. I found it all very interesting and I was kept on my toes, always trying to figure out what was really going on, but the film doesn't give away too much all at once. Instead, just like Sarah, we are given the information piecemeal, a little bit at a time as it progresses. The characters are really creepy and act with an unflinching determination while simultaneously being very loving and caring to each other. They've all gone through the same indoctrination and have accepted their lives in the community, and I think this helps make it all that more disturbing. They've all been brainwashed and really buy into the philosophy that governs the community. What's even creepier is that the philosophy to which they subscribe actually makes some good points, but requires them to go to extreme lengths to preserve and implement. It's an example of something with very good intentions, but the means to achieve the end isn't justifiable. It's not a particularly violent movie. There are scenes of violence, but it's more of a psychological horror film. The idea of being captured and held against your will, tortured, and having to be completely obedient to someone else on fear of death is extremely unsettling, especially when you know that you're completely off the grid and no one is coming to help you. It was really thought-provoking and made me wonder what I would do in the same situation, and how much I would be willing to endure knowing that if I survive, I'd still have to be a subservient member of this community. Would I try to be resistant, risk more punishment, or possibly death? Or would I play along and wait for the right moment to escape? When is the right moment to escape? How do you keep yourself from losing your mind and eventually buying into the principles which they have attempted to indoctrinate you? It's a lot of things to consider, and because of this, I think it makes for a great first viewing. Since you never know what is going to happen next and are being strung along like the main character, it makes for some good suspense. On the flip side, I think this has diminishing returns, so I doubt that I'd get quite the same effect on repeat viewings. However, the idea of being held captive and forced to integrate into a group and live the way they choose for you will always be upsetting, and I think this is what makes this a creepy and engaging movie to watch. It's not the scariest film out there, and I've seen some mixed reviews online, but I found it entertaining, disturbing, and different from a lot of other stuff I've seen recently. I'd recommend seeing it at least once, and it's on Netflix right now, so check it out. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. So thanks for watching, and please come back for more movie reviews as I get rolling on Horror Movie Madness Marathon Month. Happy Halloween.